You've gotten this far in your leadership life. Now it's time to level up. You can learn the tools to reimagine, reinvent, and to even love your leadership life. Are you ready? Let's go. Hey, hello. How are you today? I'm sending you some good vibes out there. Last week we covered emotional richness. And if you ask me, that's a must listen. If you haven't heard it, I do recommend you go back and listen. I mean, what are we here for if not to experience emotional richness and what we gain from it? Today, I'm going to piggyback on that concept to help us to normalize some emotions and to help us to lead from those, both to get the results or outcomes that we desire, and also just to do some good while we're at it. You might wonder why I'm even bringing up emotions in a podcast about leadership. It's not a topic normally covered in leadership training, but think about emotions for a minute and how they influence your actions. My first coach taught it to me like this. She said, emotions are the reason for everything you do and don't do. And that really stuck with me. If I'm feeling hopeless, for instance, I likely won't take action for an outcome I desire, but if I feel hopeful, well, I'm more likely to give it a go. Everything that we think we want in our life, every result that we think we want in our life is because of a feeling we think it will give us. If we meet the goal, we are on the lookout for that positive feeling that we think we're going to get from meeting the goal. Everything that we don't want in our life is because of a feeling we don't want to experience, something we don't want to have. So emotions are doing a lot of the driving, and it helps to pay attention to them. Now, let's talk about the duality of life and leadership and emotions. One thing I find myself doing a lot in my coaching is reminding people of this duality. I actually call it the isness of life and leadership. It's just the way it is. It means that we have always had and will always have this duality, both positive and challenging experiences in life, in leadership. When someone tells me that they're disappointed that something went wrong or they did not get the outcome that they wanted, sometimes it helps to just remind ourselves that it's normal to not bat 1,000. Nobody does. If a baseball player is batting in the 300s, we say that's a pretty stellar average, even though the batter is actually striking out or not getting on base 2/3 of the time. When you remind yourself of that, it can help to get past the disappointment more quickly so that you can figure out your next steps. It's like using disappointment as a teacher. What did you learn? What will you do differently next time? What's the message here? Just accepting this concept, that helps to normalize all of the emotions. We're supposed to feel them. They are part of the human package to help us to sort through life. All right, so this is why last week I encouraged us to experience the emotional richness available to us. It's one of the reasons why we should get in touch with our emotions. There are positive and negative balances in the world all the time, in our experiences, in our emotional life, in the circumstances that we're dealt. I learned this from my first coach too, by the way. Most of us who are extremely unhappy and trying to change things externally, when we are unhappy or experiencing any difficult emotions, sometimes it's because we have been sold to think that we should have positive emotion all of the time. And that's just not the way it goes. Not being happy all of the time is normal. We are supposed to deal with difficult emotions part of the time. When we get familiar with those emotions, we help ourselves experience the positive ones better too. When we learn to allow negative emotion or difficult emotion, we learn to have positive emotion as well. The goal is not necessarily to fix the difficult emotion. It's to help us to see that we are humans and we are having normal human emotions. It's not about feeling good all of the time. The goal is more about understanding the emotions, feeling them, processing them, and then deciding what to do with them. When we try to get out of emotional pain too fast, we miss out on this opportunity to get to know ourselves and to grow or evolve and to build resilience. When we can take an emotion like shame, for example, and see what we think about it, then we can observe the whole thing and learn from it. This is what I help my clients to do in my practice. When we're willing to feel any difficult emotion, then we can stop doing things to feel better. Instead of seeking false pleasures, we can seek growth. I just saw this reel this morning on Instagram about the rule of thirds, which I just loved. I have to include it here. It was a video of Olympian Alexi Pappas talking about something her coach taught her one day when she was really struggling. Basically, he told her that when you're chasing a dream or doing anything hard, you're meant to feel good a third of the time, okay a third of the time, and crappy a third of the time. So if today was your crappy day, it doesn't mean that it's time to quit. It just means to figure it out, to keep at it. It's fine. Your good and your okay times are coming. It's normal to feel crappy sometimes. You just keep showing up. You just keep going through the peaks and valleys. You learn in the valleys. That's part of getting to your next peak, figuring it out, right? You're having a human experience, getting to know your emotions. All of that is helpful. If you're willing to feel any emotion, that means that you have the self-confidence to do anything. You know that whatever happens, you will have your own back. You will be resilient. You will bounce back. In leadership, you get access to all kinds of difficult emotions. What I'm saying is not to run from them. Learning from them is how you and your team will progress. It's about embracing the entire spectrum of human emotion, the balance of it, the positive and the challenging. In leadership, understanding the duality of emotions helps to ease the stress of seeing others go through difficult emotions. It can help leaders to respond with empathy and to create a more supportive environment. Acknowledging the duality of emotions can help you to make more balanced decisions, to consider different perspectives. Understanding your own dualities can help to build relationships, to manage conflict. By recognizing that successes and setbacks often coexist, leaders can focus on adaptability, perseverance, and navigating challenges successfully. Now, here's the disclaimer. If you are really struggling with difficult emotion and you can't let it go to the point that it is challenging to function, I always encourage seeking help from a mental health professional. Always, always go do that for yourself. Otherwise, know that emotions are normal. Know that you can give equal airtime to both sides of the emotional balance. You can choose thoughts to generate positive emotion, like when you need determination or motivation or inspiration or courage or confidence or even love or hope. And you can use them to achieve what you're after. Just remember that all of the emotions are normal. When you're not feeling positive, you're likely just being human. That's it for today. Get to know those emotions, normalize them, learn from them, use them. Have a beautiful week. We'll see you next time. If you're ready to dive into this work, check out my Living Your Leadership Life membership. It's where you will find the coaching, tools, and community to help you leave survival in the dust and create the leadership life you desire. Go to drjuliabarrow.com and the Work With Me page for more information. And if you know someone else who can benefit from listening to this podcast, send them our link. Our world can use some healing, and it starts with our leaders. Join us.